What do we do with imposter syndrome? I don't want you to feel like I have the answers because I don't. I am purely just a student trying to understand more about this machine that we are involved in. But imposter syndrome has been something as an artist that I have contended with. It's been a psychological response that I have wrestled with on countless occasions. It's really fascinating because it feels like the brain's way of discounting itself or discrediting itself for the work that it has done. And it's such a weird response, mainly because we put so much time and effort and emotion into what we do, particularly as artists. It's never made sense to me that our minds could tell us that we are not worthy of being in the spaces we are. A particular experience June the 6th of 2020 during the George Floyd protests in Bristol. Some of you may know that I was involved with that protest, and there's a photo of me that went semi-viral online, and it was me on the plinth. And I don't know, there was this moment where there was an unimaginable to me amount of people who engaged with me, but also engaged with this image of me and had so many good things to say about that moment. At the time, it seemed like the most important moment for me as a person, but also in my career. It was really cool to begin with because I was like, oh, is this what it feels like to be viral? But quickly I started feeling overwhelmed. I started feeling lost. I started feeling confused. And very quickly the imposter syndrome started setting in. The thought of like, why me? Why has what I've said resonated more with people? At the time, there was a thought of like, so many people were up there. Why was it my moment that God or the universe saw as worthy of being acknowledged? It was weird because I thought I should have been happy. I thought I should have been grateful. I thought I should have been feeling all those emotions. But weirdly, I was feeling this sense of like alienation. So many more people had something to say about my character based off of this one photo than almost like my whole life combined. I can remember receiving hundreds and hundreds of messages from people all around the world, and it was weird because I was like, damn, like this, like my being or something that represents me has traveled all around the world and has impacted people like this. So there was that blessing and there was that excitement of like, wow, this is beautiful. Well, on the flip side, I was like, damn, they think I'm a great person. They think, oh, you're such a good guy. All these comments of my character. But I was like, how can you know that? You've only just seen a photo. And I think it was one of the pieces that led to like a full-blown identity crisis in the following year. It was just the confusion of what I was hearing versus what I was experiencing as someone who knows all my flaws and knows all my insecurities. I couldn't understand how these people could be so sure that I was a good person, that they would share and they would purchase this image. We had the blessing of being able to raise 11 plus grand for charity, and that was amazing again. But it was like, wow, you feel so strongly about how good a person I am and how good a moment this is that you're willing to spend your time and money. I was like, wow, like this is beautiful, but at the same time, you don't know me. And it led to a point where I couldn't sift between what was true and what was not. And then the hateful messages started rolling in, and it started feeling more and more and more like I didn't know what was true and what wasn't. I felt unsafe. I felt unworthy. I lost the light. I lost the truth. I've been on a journey of trying to understand more and more of what that looks like for me, how I respond to these scenarios, and also how best to respond to imposter syndrome. And more recently, I think developing kind of like a habit of being grateful, but also a habit of reflecting, and also a habit of not crediting everything that happens to you and through you as a result of you. And what I mean by that is like everything that happens in my life I see as a blessing. I look at the opportunity to be a freelancer. I look at the songs I've put out, the people who've enjoyed it and experienced it, and the blessing of being able to be inspired and being able to be skilled enough to write a piece of music or make a piece of art that connects with someone, and the privilege of being able to speak to a human condition and have a conversation about how my negative experiences have led to, I don't know, someone's breakthrough because I've been able to express it. All those moments I see as a blessing, and I don't see them as something that I've done, but rather something that I've merely just allowed happen through me. And it's weird because then doesn't become a conversation about whether or not I'm worthy to be in a space, but rather I get to acknowledge that it's not me. If this piece of art is going to connect, it's not me that makes it connect. It's everything else that I'm allowing flow, and all I'm doing is playing, almost serving as a gatekeeper and deciding whether or not I would allow myself to be a vessel or not. And there's always going to be a space for that. It's always going to be worthy for the most authentic thing to be praised or to be gravitated towards. So it no longer feels like me in that space, but rather me just allowing things to flow through me and serve as a vessel of God and let myself be a mouthpiece. And so far seems to have helped a lot with the feeling of imposter syndrome and feeling like I'm not enough and don't deserve the things that I have. But also there's been a very beautiful lesson, and this lesson has been tough and hard, but it's been fun. And I feel very free where I'm at right now. And that's not to say that I don't wake up some days and just feel absolutely trash and unsure of what life is doing and still feel like I'm not enough. Those days happen, but a lot less frequently than they used to. I would love to know what your experience of imposter syndrome are and ways you found to deal with it. If you have connected, liked, appreciated any of the things I've said, it would mean the world to me if you followed, you liked, you subscribed, you shared with your family, friends, people who you think may benefit from this or would find this interesting, because we are living this real life.